live. There we go. Saying you're live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How we doing? Wow, it's been a while since I've last posted. Good morning. Yeah, this is the first time y'all see me with my cap off. Y'all see it. Y'all see it. And I know a lot of people might hate me for my hair, but just throw cap back on. As always, it's my arts cap, but backwards for today. Good morning. How are you doing? I know it's been a while since I last posted, but let's keep it going, keep it moving. I will apologize. I'd say I'll try to post a bit more often, but I post as often as possible. Life happens to the best and the rest of us. Yeah, I just needed to ensure that my PC was plugged in. So for this chapter, we're gonna do. I'm hoping everyone's reading. I know quite a lot of people were actually catching up with their reading based from other chapters, watching videos from previous chapters, catching all the way up to my current chapter. Currently, we're reading chapter 9. Let me slow down. We're currently reading chapter 9, which is the clay tablet, which is one of those chapters. I remember I listed a couple of chapters that I felt were very paramount, right? So it was this chapter, the clay tablets, the 7 cures, and the 5 laws. If you were to grasp majority of the laws through those chapters, you'll realize that you basically know how to get yourself out of debt in any shape, way, or form. You know how to actually make money and live off your money. It gives you very practical steps, which is one thing I've always appreciated about this book. It always gives very practical steps on how to deal with your finances, and like other books that like save your money, save and do what, okay? So this book, I'm reading about it, is that it actually helps you save your money, but actually lets you know how to save your money and what to do with your money in that saving your money. So if you read I'm assuming that you read the chapter, so you get the general gist for those who didn't and who are just gonna watch this chapter update. Basically, what happens throughout the chapter is they send a couple of clay tablets to a university research study, and they asked them to translate them. So we are basically hearing the correspondence between the two gentlemen. I'm going to assume, yeah. I'm going to hear the conversation, the correspondence between the two gentlemen, and we learn a lot. So now this is the first time when, in this chapter, it's actually for people who are coming from a position of being in debt. It's actually a solution from how to move out of debt and into a good financial standing. Start building your wealth, So key things that I picked up through the chapter. Number one, we'd like to welcome back to Dabasir, the camel trader. Yes. Remember how in his story, we heard about him in a previous chapter where he was a slave in one country, ran away, indebted from his home country, came back, and then came out of debt, paid everyone back, and everyone was happy. So now in this chapter, they actually break down how he did that, right? So we'll come back to Dabasir. We're glad to have him. So the first thing that you will notice is that Dabasir actually gives you a breakdown of spending on how to break out of debt, right? So of your 100% of your income month-on-month basis, we assuming that you actually make a month-on-month basis, month-on-month income, whether you run your own business where you make a large sum once off, or you have a job where you make a bit every month. Regardless of how you make your money, we assume that you have some source of income. Of that source of income, the breakdown that Davis here suggests that you approach, which seems a very reasonable approach, because a lot of people are very deep in debt, and what they tend to do is that they'll want to pay off their debt in a very unreasonable short span of time, and force their living into uncomfortable position. And then once they're done paying their debt, they're probably so hungry to enjoy the finer things in life that they fall right back into debt, right? So WCA show gives you a method that allows you to, one, enjoy your life day on day basis, break out of debt, and stay out of debt, right? So the breakdown basically is three percentages. You take your income, you break it down into three. right? First and foremost, 10%. That rule has remained consistent throughout each and every chapter. Pay yourself no less than 10%. After paying yourself that 10%, next, this is where the variation comes. So in every other chapter, you were able to take the 90% and live off of it. Now, if you're living in debt, clearly you owe more people than you should. So what he suggests is that you take another 20%. Yes, you take 20% and you take that income towards paying your debts, right? Pay your debts of that 20% and then take 70% and live off of 70%. Right. So now, if you are in debt, how are you gonna pay them off of 20% when you got into debt because your month-on-month basis, your month-on-month income was not covering it? So one, you actually need to sit down and list all of your debts so that you know exactly how much you owe and to whom you owe and what at what interest rate if necessary, so that you know it is suggested that there's two approaches to it actually. There's a snowballing, and I'm not sure what the other one is called, whereby you pay the heaviest debts first, pay the heavier interest rates, and work your way down, or you can just consider or momentum, yes, whereby you pay your smallest amount and then get that paid off, and then move on to the next one, get that paid off, and you basically build momentum as you pay your debts off month on month on month on month, right? So 90% of your income, 20% goes towards your debts, 70% goes towards your living expenses. In your living expenses comes back to your budget. If you budget your money, you'll be able to live off 7% of your money. So that means of everything you make, 70 you make sure that it's paid for by 7%. If it does not fit within that 70%, either you need to find an alternative for it, or you might just need to scrap it once and for all, because it might be a leisure expense that you really can't do without, which are quite often, which are more common than most people realize. So as you, wait, I'm just trying to check my thoughts. Yes. Actually, this is one of those chapters I actually knew off the top of the head. I didn't actually have to refer back to my little black book. Please make sure you're still jotting things down in your little black book. Yeah. So 70%, sit down, budget. Write down everyone whom you owe. Write down everything that you spend money on. Everyone that you owe, get in contact. If you are swimming in debt more, if you are in more debt than you actually can handle, currently you even have services like the debt council. That's the debt council. I'll find the exact name for it. And they will actually help you and talk to a lot of your creditors and explain to them that you are not actually able to pay at the current rate. You might have to adjust how much you pay, adjusting how much a lot of creditors will adjust how much you pay so that you can pay less money for normal. And other creditors will just be like, okay, fine, let's just see if you can just shave off a bit of the interest so we can fit it within your budget. All creditors are just trying to get the capital back in. That is every bank's intention. Like, banks, as much as they want the interest, they just really need to make sure that all of the money that they gave you somehow comes back in. Whether they get a portion of it back, whether they need to sacrifice the interest, a lot of banks who are willing to do that because they just need to ensure that the capital that they borrowed out to you is returned to them. And then living on 70%. Living on 70% is exactly as it was as one of the 7 cures. Excuse me for a moment. Yes, I'm back on. Living on 70% is like it was in the 7 cures. You actually need to sit down, look at what you spend, and actually, in this chapter, you actually see the professor sit down and go through what he buys. So another nice thing that they did in this chapter, one thing I actually did enjoy, is that he started questioning not necessarily what items he was buying, but the brand of item he was buying. I say this because I do at times step into, if you know me and you ever go shopping with me, I do step in whenever I do buy something. I always compare prices. So if you compare prices between different brands, you'll see that 20 cents, that 30 cents difference does not seem like as much, right? But if you're saving 20 cents per item on let's say a 10 item list, 10 item list is 2 rand. That's how much you saved. If you're saving 20 cents per item. And often when you step in, when you go grocery shopping, you buy more than 20 items. Yes, it's a soup here, soup there, soup here, soup there. Each soup might cost you 10 cents less, and you're buying 10 soups. 10 cents, 10 soups, that's 1 rand. That's on just soups. People tend to spend over, I think the average person spends about 700-800 bucks on groceries just as a single person. And if you're saving 20-30 cents per item, you'll probably find you can save yourself a good 3-4 rand. I tend to save 3-4 rand on my monthly spend, on my monthly groceries, because I do actually look at which item I buy, and I do question quality. If I buy something 1 month that was slightly cheaper but I did not enjoy the taste, I might revert back. Or if it's a 20 cents that really I really if it's a taste I can really do without, especially with like soups, because there's so many other tastes that are in your mouth at the time. You don't necessarily always taste it as the leading taste, I'm gonna say. You can sacrifice it. Things like fruits and veggies. People want to buy fruits and veggies from fruit and veg. No offense, I'm not saying don't buy from fruit and veg, but I personally buy on the side of the road. You get a packet of oranges for about 30 bucks. Yeah, about 20-25 bucks. And then fruit and veg, you're gonna get it 25-30 bucks. It's an extra 5 rand I will save. It seems like a little bit of money, but when it accumulates over the duration of a year, you got 12 months in the year. You saving 2 rand, 2 rand, 2 rand, 2 rand, 2 rand, 2 rand. That's on the worst case scenario. Sometimes you'd be saving 10 rand, 20 rand, 20 rand, 20 rand, 20 rand. As an extra 120 rand on a month, on an annual basis, that you can find other things to invest in. You can put it aside for savings. Sorry. You can add it to your savings. There's a lot of small savings that you can do that will count in the long run. So it is always something good to start questioning the quality of items that you buy. It's not necessarily being frugal, it's just making sure that you are getting your money's worth, right? So if you buy Blue Brand Mary biscuits versus in-house brand Mary biscuits, it's usually about a 1 rand difference. It's something nice, but it's a 1 rand difference. It's something that you can save on. And if you do that, you'll probably find that you can actually squeeze all of the expenses into that 70%. Once you squeeze it into 70%, you've got your 20% to start paying off your creditors. Once you paid off your creditors, you can even take that approach even if you're not in debt. Try to squeeze everything into a 70% bracket. Squeeze everything into a 70% bracket, then take that 30% and start investing in other things. Take 10% that you are taking on risky investments, and then 20% risky investments would be things like the stock market for people who want to actually try trading themselves. So finding those individual stocks, then risk 10% of that, and then take 20%, put it into a savings account or a index fund. There's a lot of ways that you can move your money around so that you put yourself in a safe spot, but still paying off your debts, man. And that 10% is still good, so that at the end of the month you've still got money in your account and you can smile a little bit, man. But all in all, man, it's been a great chapter. This is actually one of those few chapters I was actually looking forward to this chapter from the beginning of the book, because this is one of those chapters that I feel a lot of people similarly colored. Well, people of my skin tone, I will say it. A lot of us are in debt and we don't know how to get out of debt. And once you do get out of debt, you've lived so frugal throughout the time while you were in debt that you end up spending more money after and getting yourself right back into debt. So this approach actually helps you make money and keep money while working your way out of debt. So that at the end of the month, you still feel good about yourself. That 10% feels awesome. Knowing that you got a stock portfolio somewhere, somehow. The fact that that's actually a tax write-off is actually an amazing feeling. And a lot of people don't consider that, and they just like, I just want to pay my debts, and then as soon as I'm done paying my debts, I'll start saving money. During the month, it's very hard to feel good about, oh, I'm paying my debts off, I'm 80% done with my, no. Like everyone's just like, I've got another extra 10, 20,000 rand, 10, 20,000 rand invested in the stock market. And that helps me feel good. Yes, I've still got student debts that I'm paying off, but I've got my money growing also at the same time. So 10% to invest, 20% to pay off your debtors, 70% to level. Golden rule, it's a good set of ratios, man. And I feel this is one of the actual paramount chapters of this book. There's the 5 laws and the 7 cures, because they give very pragmatic approaches. And there's, I think, one other chapter. There's one other chapter that's still coming up that I just dawned on me now that will actually help you when you're on the other side of the table. When you do have money, and now you've got all this money and you don't know what to do with it. There's a chapter that actually deals with that. So hopefully we get to it and that you're still reading along. I will try to post more regularly, but life is life, so I'm not going to promise to do it. So keep reading. We'll always come back here if I've read the chapter by the time you get there. I'll have posted up a video if I haven't read by that time. Drop it in a comment how far you are with the book. Maybe I'll also start speeding up how quickly I post these videos, and I'll try to post more regularly. Other than that, man, it's a beautiful day. Let's have fun. Let's make money and enjoy ourselves. Thank you for staying with me. Bye.